Hello students, I welcome you all to the Learning Management System, an initiative by the Department of Collegiate and Technical Education. Today, we are at session 15, where we are going to discuss Unit 3 of Basics of Electrical Power System for students of first year diploma Electrical and Electronics Engineering. In this unit, we are going to study about solar photovoltaic system and wind power plants. And at the end of this session, I would expect my students to know what is the photovoltaic effect, solar power, how the solar cells are constructed, and the solar photovoltaic module. Before I start, I would like to introduce myself. I am Mrs. Tarina Norona, Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, S&M Polytechnic, Mudbidri. I work as a selection grade lecturer in this college. Before we start session 15, let us have a short recap of what we studied in session 14. I know you had a very interesting session with all the activities like identification of parts of the power plant, jumble words, quiz, crossword, mind mapping, and I hope you found it very interesting. The purpose of these activities is to strengthen the concept that you have learned. In the previous classes, you studied about the conventional power plants like the nuclear, diesel, and gas turbine power plants. In this session, session 15, we are going to study about a renewable source of energy. So what topics are we going to learn in this session is, first one is the photovoltaic effect, the solar power, the construction of solar cell, and solar photovoltaic module with its block diagram. So you have a picture which shows how the energy of the sun can be used to power the different loads of a house. Let us learn how to generate electricity by using solar power. What do you mean by solar power? Solar power means the energy from the sun. We all know that Earth depends upon the sun for all its energy needs. Sun is a powerful source of energy. The energy from the sun will reach the earth in the form of radiations. But all the energy given out by the sun does not reach the earth. But whatever percentage of energy reaches the earth is more than sufficient for the earth to satisfy all its needs. Now let us know why we should study about solar power. Because presently the earth is facing energy crisis. Why are we facing a crisis? Because for all our needs we require electricity. Electricity has made our life very comfortable. So we need to generate electricity on a large scale to satisfy all our needs. In the previous sessions, you studied about generation of electricity by the conventional methods. And what did you observe? All the conventional methods mainly use non-renewable sources of energy. So if you are going to use these non-renewable energy sources continuously, then by the year 2040 or say 2050, all the sources will get exhausted. ನಮ್ಮ next generationಗೆ ಯಾವ fossil fuels ಬಾಕಿ ಉಳಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. So what we have to do? We have to seriously think about conservation of all these non-renewable sources of energy. So the only method is look at other alternative of renewable sources. Of all the renewable sources available to us, the energy of the sun is the most powerful source. So here we are going to think how to generate electricity by using solar power. When we generate electricity, our major requirement is we want electricity continuously throughout the day. ನಮಗೆ power cuts ಬೇಡ. So ನಮಗೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕು? Electricity ನಾವು sun ಇಂದ generate ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, the main question is, are we able to get it continuously? So India as a country, we are very fortunate. We have Tropic of Cancer passing through our country. We are in the tropical region. So we receive abundant energy from the sun throughout the year. The intensity is good all throughout the year and through the daytime. So we can seriously think of utilizing this energy source for generation of electricity. And because of this, the government of India is trying to promote the use of solar energy by providing subsidies and encouraging the use of solar. In India, there has been a continuous effort to tap solar power. Presently, in our country, we have a solar installed capacity of 36.9 gigawatt, where 1 gigawatt is about 10 to the power 9 watt. The world's largest solar plant is in India at Bhadla in Jodhpur district. The Bhadla Solar Park is in Rajasthan, is spread about 14,000 acres of land and has an installed capacity of 2,245 megawatt. 1 megawatt is equal to about 10 to the power 6 watt. Even in our own state Karnataka, we have a large power plant called as the Pavagada Solar Park at Pavagad, where we have a generation capacity of 2050 megawatt. The energy that we receive from the sun, which we call it as solar power, is made up of two components, that is light and sun. Because of light, we are able to see object. ನಾವು ಬಿಸಿಲಿಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ? ನಮಗೆ ಸೆಕೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ? Because of the heat component. So the energy from the sun has got light energy also and heat energy also. And both these forms of energy can be utilized for generation of electricity. Now commonly ಇದು ನೋಡ್ತೇವೆ. ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ? Heat ಎನರ್ಜಿಯನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೀರನ್ನು ಬಿಸಿ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. So ಅದು small scale ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. On a larger scale, can we generate heat, or can we use the heat of the sun to generate steam? Yeah, definitely it is possible. Okay, so by using heat energy, we can generate steam, and just like you generated electricity in the conventional form of energy, we can generate electricity. But in the syllabus, we are not interested to tap the heat component of light, but we are going to concentrate on using light energy and generate electric energy. So we can see this figure which shows a photovoltaic cell. So photovoltaic cell is that device which is going to use the light energy of the sun and generate electricity. To generate electricity by using light, we are going to use the photovoltaic effect. What do you mean by photo? Photo means light, volta means voltage. So we are going to use the photovoltaic effect to generate electricity. So what is photovoltaic effect? When the light energy falls on a suitable material, then we can have a removal of electrons. Now how is this possible? So whenever light energy falls, light energy is considered to be made up of small packets of energy. And these energy packets are called as photons. So when the light energy falls on this material, the material absorbs these photons of light, and because of which the electrons get liberated. Does this always take place for any material? So it depends upon what type of radiations are falling and what is the type of material. For light energy, the material suitable for emission of electrons is a semiconductor. So on certain semiconductor, when the light radiations are incident, these electrons are going to get ejected by absorbing the photons. But the problem is the electrons do not come out of this material. So we need to have a special arrangement, and that arrangement is called as a solar cell. A solar cell works on the, or a photovoltaic cell works on the principle of converting light energy into electrical energy. And this uses the photovoltaic effect. So to have a solar cell, we require a semiconducting material and a certain method of removing this electron out of the material. A semiconducting material cannot be directly used for creating a solar cell. We have to modify the semiconducting material. There are two types of semiconducting material, that is p-type semiconducting material and n-type semiconducting material. So what we do is a p-type semiconducting material and an n-type semiconducting material are joined together to form a p-n junction. Just have a look at the figure. We have, this is a p-type and n-type. When they join together, a junction is formed. So this junction is called as a p-n junction. I would like to explain to you how this p-n junction helps us to push this electron out of this material. This figure shows the basic construction. At the p-n junction, when the light energy is incident, then the atom absorbs the photon of light and the electron and hole get separated. The question is, what is a hole? Whenever an electron leaves an atom, there is a vacancy of electron, and that vacancy is called as a hole. Here we have a front contact to remove the electrons out, a back contact for the continuity of the circuit, and an external load connected for the current to flow. To understand the working of a solar cell better, let us briefly study about semiconductor. Which are the commonly used semiconductor materials? They are germanium and silicon. So I put a picture of silicon where we can see that every silicon atom has got 4 valence electrons, and what it does is it shares its electrons with surrounding 4 silicon atom. So if I think about this silicon atom, 1, 2, 3 and 4 are its valence electrons, and it shares electron with 1, 2, 3, 4. So by sharing electron, it completes its 8 electrons and has a very stable configuration. Now, suppose light is incident or any other form of energy is incident, then there's a possibility of electron leaving this position. This is possible because in semiconductor, between the valence band, there is a small energy gap. What do you mean by this energy gap? When small amount of energy is available to this electron will leave its position and move out. Suppose an electron leaves this position and goes out, then there is a vacancy created of an electron. This vacancy created is called as a hole. So whenever an electron leaves the semiconductor material or goes out, for every electron which has gone out, a hole is created. That is why we commonly refer to it as electron-hole pair or EH pairs. And this is possible because of this narrow energy gap between the valence band and the conduction band. Pure semiconductors are never directly used for any devices. We generally try to modify the characteristics of the semiconducting material by adding an impurity called as doping. The purpose of adding this impurity is to increase the number of electrons or to increase the number of holes. How is this possible? So let us take an example of a p-type semiconductor. What we do is, out of all the silicon present, one of the silicon atom we are going to replace by a trivalent impurity, say for example boron. Boron, gallium, indium, aluminium, they're all example of trivalent impurity. So when you replace a silicon atom by a boron, which is trivalent, that means it has got only 3 valence electron, 1, 2 and 3. So there is no electron here. And when electron is missing, it is called as a hole. So by doping a semiconductor by a trivalent impurity, you can ensure that there are more number of holes in the material. That is why we call this material as p-type semiconductor. Similarly, in a silicon structure, if you remove one silicon atom and replace by a pentavalent material or a pentavalent impurity, then the 4 electrons of that impurity will be used up in the bonding process. So what will happen? There will be 1 extra unused electrons. So when you dope the material or provide this impurity, which is pentavalent, in this structure, we can have excess electrons which can be available for conduction. Thus, we are able to modify the property of a semiconductor by adding impurities which are either trivalent or pentavalent, and we create p and n type semiconductor. Thus, a basic solar cell consists of a p-type semiconductor and an n-type semiconductor. You can see that p-type is thicker while n-type is a diffuse layer, because when we say p-n junction, it does not mean that we attach p and n-type together and form a junction. There's a process where the n-type material is grown over p-type. That is why we call it as a n-type diffuse layer. So this is, we have p and n type junction, and we have a opaque metal contact. Opaque means it does not allow light to pass. We have a metallic contact at the bottom and also at the top. A metallic grid has been provided at the top to make sure that the electrons can be taken out of the cell to the external circuit. An anti-reflecting coating is provided so that whatever rays of light into the earth, they are not able to escape out, and the maximum amount of light gets absorbed by the material. So when bright light or sunlight falls on this material, the photons of light given out by the sunlight will be absorbed and electron hole pairs are created at this junction. The purpose of providing p and n type semiconducting material and a junction is to create an electric field. Because of this p and n type, there is a barrier potential formed which creates an electric field. So when light falls on this, when the electron and the hole separate out, all the electrons are pushed towards the n-type material and all the holes will be in the p-type material. And because of the presence of electric field, because of this p-n junction, the electrons are pushed out into the external circuit. These electrons which are pushed out will have energy of the photon with it. It will pass to the electrical circuit, do the work, and again come back to the p-type material where it will find the holes. At these holes, the electron and holes will recombine and the process ends here. As and how the light falls, the electron hole pair will separate in this region. We also call it the depletion region. And because of the electric field of this depletion region, electrons are pushed to the n-type and the process continues. Thus, there is a continuous separation of electrons and holes in this region, electrons being pushed out, and here in the p region, again there is a recombination. Thus, depending upon the intensity of light, we have current flowing to the external circuit, and the voltage setup is called as the photovoltage. Thus, the external circuit, we have continuous flow of electricity if there is continuous light falling or continuous supply of photons by the light energy. We show the construction of a single photovoltaic cell in this manner, or a solar cell in this manner, while the symbol used for photovoltaic cell is either this, where we show light is falling. This is the symbol of a cell. This is the symbol of a photo cell where light is falling here. Or when we want to represent a group of cell or a module, we take up this symbol. The photovoltaic cell that we studied as a single unit produces a very small voltage. It is not feasible to have substantial amount of energy by using a single cell. So what we do is we put together a group of cells. This group of cells is called as a module. The purpose of providing a module is to either increase the voltage, current, or the power. Voltage can be increased by connecting the photocells in series. Current can be increased by connecting them in parallel, and thus power level can be enhanced. Moreover, they have to be mechanically protected from dust, moisture, mechanical shock, vibrations. And since these photovoltaic cells are installed outdoors, it has to have good amount of mechanical protection. So we provide an enclosure for a module. The module will have a transparent top cover for the light to penetrate, while its back cover will be opaque and just provided for mechanical protection. The number of cells in a module depends upon its capacity. So for example, if you want to have a 12-volt module, you may have to put a combination of 33 to 36 cells. So this way, in this session, we studied about how a photovoltaic cell works and how to put together cells to form a module. I hope you're able to understand the concept of photovoltaic cell. Now let us have a brief revision of this session. The question number 1, a solar cell converts light energy into, you have 4 options: electrical energy, thermal energy, sound energy, and heat energy. So the option would be electrical energy. Let's move on to the second question. A solar cell is a P-type, N-type, intrinsic, or a PN junction. For a solar cell, P-type, one type of semiconductor is not sufficient. We need to have both P and N-type semiconductor. So we require a PN junction for pushing the electron out of the material and circulating it to the external circuit. Question number 3, we have that during the collection of electron-hole pair, holes are collected by. So electrons are collected by the front contact. So we have 4 options: front, back, silicon wafer, or fingered electrodes. So front we have electrons being collected. At the back contact we have holes. So the holes are collected by the back contact. I would like to share with you the resources used in the preparation of this material. These are the textbooks which I have referred for creating this material. I request you all to go through this topic in this textbook for a better understanding of the subject. We have already provided you with links of some videos which will help you for better understanding. Please go through this. This is the team which worked together to make this resource available to you. Each one of us have contributed their bit for creation of this content. Thank you for your patient listening. In case there are any suggestions or feedback so that we can improve this content, we would like you to mail us at lms.dtek@gmail.com. All your suggestions are welcome.